We've had her on the show as a guest host before, but this time we get up close and personal with one of our own. With me is Kimberly Fernandez. Kim, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
How's it going?
It's good. I'm happy to be back.
So, Kim, let's get straight to it. What was your first kick of the ball? What made you want to play football?
It was way back when I was, I think, 5 years old, and my dad's a football coach. And I always saw him go to train the boys in St. Mary's in Mascon. And so I went along with him and I used to kick the ball about, and that's how it started. And as I think grew older, I started to train with the boys he was training, and we didn't have a girls team yet, a football team yet in school. And so it wasn't until I was about 12 that we actually started participating in tournaments, but I've always played informally in a way growing up. Yeah,
That's amazing. You then joined the Maharashtra under 18 and under 19 team for 3 years. So, talk us through that.
so like I said, then when I was 12 I started playing for the school team, and by class 10 we were performing well, and then we get scouted by the selectors. And I was called up for one of the Maharashtra selections and made it to the team. And that was quite the start of the journey playing for Maharashtra. And ever since then, I played, like you said, for the under 18s, under 19s, and currently playing for the senior women's team. So it's a very exciting place to be because you literally know everybody who's playing the sport here and from around the country. So it's just exciting to still be part of that circuit.
And you also captained the Mumbai district team to 2 titles.
Correct, yeah. We co-captained in a way, but very exciting to captain a team to such a big title, and Mumbai has been very dominant in the state of Maharashtra, which is a great thing in women's football. And yeah, captaining the team is just the cherry on top.
You've played the Bandra League, you've played the MDFA, you've played the Catholic Gym tournament. These are renowned tournaments in the city. But then the major one is that you played for, Bodyline SC in the Indian Women's League. So take us through that journey.
Yeah, so the Indian Women's League only came around very recently in, I think, 2017. And we were lucky enough to qualify to play the first preliminary round. And it was one of the most exciting experiences I've had because you're playing amongst players who play in the Indian team, and the level of play is that much higher. And here in Maharashtra, in Mumbai, we've won the MDFA and all of that. But when you take that same team and go to play amongst the best that the country has to offer, it's a whole different ball game. But it's a very exciting experience, and very insightful to see the level, and that you have to up your game itself as well.
You also played for a team from Haryana in the Women's League. And I think you currently still do.
No, so I played for them last season. In the preliminary rounds because we hadn't qualified from our state. So we had to transfer and play for FC Alakpura is what they were called. But yeah, we were playing with players who didn't speak English, and the Haryanvi Hindi is very different. So that's also very interesting to have so many different languages, but yet you're able to understand each other because you're all playing football. And yeah.
I mean, was it very difficult with the language barrier, or did
it was not very difficult. Off the pitch it was, because you could speak to one or two of the players, because some of them were just very thoroughly just Haryanvi speaking girls. But on the pitch it really wasn't a problem. It was just interesting, in my head, like I can't talk to these girls off the pitch, but in the pitch somehow on the pitch it somehow translates into like those passes and building up as a team. And
probably just eye contact.
Probably.
So then you had a chance to go to the FIFA Best Awards, where you rubbed shoulders with, some greats. So from you, who are these greats and what was your experience?
So yeah, that was an experience, first of all, that I never imagined I'd ever get. And we were invited to the pre-event cocktails, the event itself, and then they had an after party, and we just got to go to all those as part of the regular invitees and all of that. And we were able to meet Messi to start with, Frankie de Jong, Mourinho, Pochettino, and some of the greatest women's footballers as well. Julie Ertz, Megan Rapinoe, Lucy Bronze. It was just I don't know, I can't put it into words, the experience, and it still feels like a dream because I was just walking amongst them. But yeah, it was very exciting. And
I mean, how was it to stand beside, Carlos Puyol and a Sol Campbell? We've grown up seeing these guys play.
I know, right? Like, it's like standing next to wax figures. I couldn't believe it. Even Pirlo, he was at the event, and we were just like running to everybody to get pictures. you know, yeah.
So Kim, you have, the ZA Sports that you've started. So tell us how it originated and what you guys are doing now.
Yeah, so we started ZAR Sports in 2018, toward the end of the year. So we started operating in 2019. It's been 1.5, 2 years since we've operated. And I was working in a company before, but I wanted to be able to contribute to sport a little more than I was already. And so Nigel, who I work with, he pushed me to start ZAR Sports, and that's how we started off. When we initially began, we did events like football tournaments and some events for big brands. And then in July of last year, we started training kids. And that's been a whole turnaround of the company because it's taken us on such a fun, exciting journey. And we train kids from the ages of 3 to 11 on an average. And we have so many young 3 and 4-year-olds who join us. And what's interesting to me is that we have a lot of we work with only female trainers, and because of that I feel like we have a lot of young girls who are joining in, and that's what I want to achieve with ZAR Sports. So
speaking of, young kids who are joining in, there was one special kid, who you trained, and I want you to talk us through that. I want to hear it from you.
So she started, I mean, she was introduced to football with us. Her mom was a little skeptical about, and because it's amazing because she joined us when we were doing an online, think of doing online football first of all. So that's when she joined us, and we introduced her to the sport, and she's 4 years old, and she grew to love the sport. And I was just taken aback when her mom sent me like a message saying that her name's Veda, and in school she was asked what she wanted to be when she grew up. And she said she wanted to be a footballer, and she did a little drawing and she sent it to me. I think it was just the most rewarding thing because you're training kids and then they aspire to be footballers, they look up to you. And it's just like life coming around in full circle that way.
I mean, hopefully Veda's watching this and will join us on the show very soon when she grows up. But Kim, you spoke about, your initial phases where you said you didn't have a women's team at that time. Then you grew up, you played professional football with women from around the country. You've traveled to the awards. You've met, the top women footballers of the world. I just want you to, explain to me what you feel is the progress of women's football in the country from when you started to now.
Well, I think the progress is tremendous. When I started, I didn't even, like, if you have to ask me now who I looked up to when I was growing up, there wouldn't be one female footballer's name because I didn't know who was playing. So there were girls playing, obviously, because we have seniors in our team as well, but there wasn't much access and coverage around the sport. And now people have started to realize the importance of allowing women opportunities in sport, and so the coverage is more, and so kids now have access to watching girls play, watching women play, and so they have idols to look up to as well. So in that way, it has progressed tremendously, and also opportunities have increased. We are hosting the Under-17 World Cup, which is now in 2021, the Women's World Cup, which is a big deal. It's a FIFA World Cup. And it only opens so many more doors for women because if you see the Indian team that's going to participate, their parents are going to then start to realize that their kids could probably represent India next, So yeah, the growth has just been tremendous. Although we might have marginally missed out on opportunities, generations to come are going to be flooded with opportunities, I'd like to think.
I was just about to say, you have a lot of these tournaments around cities, not only Mumbai, but now, even the other metro cities. And girls coming in from the smaller cities who are showing a lot of interest in the sport, and like you said, there is more opportunity. So, you know, it's a great thing to see about women's football. My last question, you know, you've played through the ranks. You know, what was probably your favorite phase of football, and, you know, your favorite player to play with from one of your teams, if you have to mention?
That's a tough question. I think just every opportunity getting to play at all these different levels is very exciting in itself. But the current place that I'm in right now, with so many more avenues opening up, that's the part that's exciting about it, because you know we have this opportunity to play in the Indian Women's League now, and we have so many great players just playing here, like you said, not only in Mumbai, players who come from outside of Mumbai, because the leagues here are great. I wouldn't want to pinpoint one favorite player. I love my team. My teammates are like family, and I think each one of them. And I'm the oldest on my team, so my team is fairly young, but all of them like are so inspirational because we have India junior players and all of that. And so I wouldn't pinpoint one player, but yeah, all of the players who play for Bodyline, I just admire most of them and their journeys.
Well said, dodged the bullet there. So, guys, like you've heard, increasing opportunity. It's wonderful to see women's football in the country progress. Kim, thank you for joining us. It was a pleasure. Do not forget to like, share, subscribe, follow us on Instagram, leave your comments in the section below, and stay tuned for another episode of All Balls.